Samurai Nippon, the real ninjas and their legends.
Rustling, swishing, faint sounds of fabric brushing through the deep night forest. Without any wind, branches and leaves move unnaturally. In the tree shadows, where even moonlight cannot reach, a figure in black slowly rises. In perfect silence, where not even breathing can be heard. What comes to mind when you hear the word ninja? A black-clad warrior leaping gracefully from rooftop to rooftop, vanishing with smoke bombs, throwing shuriken with deadly precision. A superhuman being who walks on water, climbs walls with bare hands, and defeats enemies in an instant? Actually, most of these images were created during the Edo period 1603–1867, and later, they're largely fictional. The real ninjas were more realistic, more scientific, and far more fascinating. Today, let's explore the true identity of the ninjas, who supported the information warfare of Japan's Sengoku period 1467–1615, particularly focusing on the engineer groups of Kōga and Iga.
But first, please subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. This helps the algorithm show you more videos perfectly suited to your interests.
Chapter 1. The Sengoku Upheaval in the Age of Warfare.
The year was Tensho I, or 1573 in the Western calendar. Oda Nobunaga had just expelled Ashikaga Yoshiaki from Kyoto, bringing the long history of the Muromachi shogunate to an end. From this point, Japan's Sengoku period would enter a completely new phase. Warlords across the country were engaged in fierce struggles for supremacy, fighting for their very survival. In this era, victory in battle wasn't determined solely by the number of troops. Enemy movements, detailed terrain knowledge, weather pattern readings, supply line security, and above all, accurate and swift information. These were the decisive factors that meant the difference between life and death. To put this in modern terms, imagine creating accurate maps, infiltrating deep into enemy territory, and reliably bringing back intelligence in an age without Google Maps, GPS, or communication networks. Just think about how advanced the skills and knowledge required for such work would be. It wasn't enough to simply be fast or agile. Geography, meteorology, psychology, chemistry, engineering, and above all, human observation skills and analytical abilities were required. This was an extremely sophisticated profession. The Sengoku daimyo feudal lords desperately needed these information, gathering and analysis specialists, and it was the residents of Kōga district in Omi province, near modern Shiga Prefecture and Iga Province, modern Mie Prefecture, who met this overwhelming demand. While appearing to live as ordinary farmers, they were simultaneously highly skilled. Professional groups possessing advanced military and information technology. Kōga and Iga shared remarkable similarities. Both were located near Kyoto, the political center, and positioned along major highways, like the Tokaido and Nakasendo. In other words, they were places where people, goods, and information naturally converged. However, both regions were also basin areas surrounded by mountains, forming natural fortresses that hindered enemy invasion. Information flowed in easily, but they could defend themselves effectively. No other location in Japan offered such ideal conditions for intelligence operations. Even more importantly, both regions were borderlands that rarely fell under direct control of central authorities. In these areas where imperial estates, temple and shrine holdings, and local lord territories overlapped in complex ways, residents naturally developed the survival skill of multiple allegiances, today supporting the imperial court, tomorrow the shogunate, and when necessary, religious institutions too. This flexibility would later become the foundation of ninja activities.
Chapter 2. The Technical Engineer Groups of Kōga and Iga.
The Kōga 53 families, Kōga, Goju Sanke, Jiahe Wushi Sanja, and Iga 36 families, Iga Sanjuroku Ke, Ihe 36家. These names that frequently appear in Sengoku period. Historical documents don't refer to simple ninja organizations. In modern terms, they were like consortiums of defense-related companies and research institutions, highly specialized technical groups. Each family possessed their own specialized field, complementing each other's technologies while maintaining comprehensive information warfare capabilities. For example, the prestigious Mochizuki clan Wang Yueshi of Kōga specialized in gunpowder manufacturing and handling. Gunpowder of that era required extremely precise mixing of saltpeter, sulfur, and charcoal. Even a slight error in the ratio could cause deadly explosions. From quality assessment of saltpeter through sulfur refinement, charcoal particle size, adjustment and final mixing and storage, knowledge and skills comparable to modern chemists were required. Moreover, all these processes had to be done by hand and in complete secrecy. The Mochizuki workshops used secret manufacturing methods, passed down through generations, strictly controlling humidity and temperature during gunpowder production. Records show that their quality even surpassed Chinese and Korean gunpowder of the time. Meanwhile, the prestigious Hattori clan Fubushi of Iga were specialists in map-making and surveying technology. The precision of their maps was astounding, even by modern standards, comparable to the maps created by Ino Tadataka during the Edo period. They developed original surveying instruments and skillfully applied triangulation principles to create extremely accurate maps. Mountain heights, river widths, road distances, castle structure details, all geographical information necessary for military operations, was recorded in detail. What's fascinating is that many of their techniques called ninjutsu, renshu, were actually applications of advanced scientific technology. For example, the water spider, mizugumo, shuejuju, known as a water walking technique, was actually a tool that cleverly applied modern principles of buoyancy and surface tension. By attaching disc-shaped bamboo floats to their feet and distributing their body weight, they could move across water surfaces. This wasn't magic, but rational tool based on physical laws. The Ninja 6 tools, Shinobi Rokugu, Renbi Ryuju, used for climbing castle walls, were precision specialized equipment that could be considered prototypes of modern climbing gear and rescue equipment. The grappling hook Kaginawa Gunawa was made of special materials, balancing strength and lightness catfoot. Tabi neko ashi tabi, Maozu Dai were special shoes that eliminated footsteps, while providing anti-slip effects, the ninja sword. Shinobi katana Rinbidao was a blade with multi-tool aspects, the medicine box. Yakukago Yaolong was a portable case for emergency medical supplies and antidotes. The striking bamboo uchitake Daju was a hollow-structured float that doubled as a weapon. And the flint Hyuchi Ishi Hodashu was an ignition device that also served as a signaling tool. All of these were specialized equipment, meticulously designed for specific purposes. Even more remarkably, they possessed extensive chemical knowledge. They engaged in poison manufacturing and antidote creation, medicinal herb cultivation and preparation, and even anesthetic development. Knowledge that would be taught in modern pharmaceutical programs. They acquired through practical experience and applied in real combat situations. They were never superhuman warriors, but rather technical specialist groups with thoroughly rational and scientific thinking.
Chapter 3: Technological Innovation and Tactical Evolution.
From around 1555, during the Middle Sengoku period, the technology of Kōga and Iga ninjas underwent rapid advancement. The greatest turning point was the introduction of firearms in 1543 and the subsequent rapid spread of gunpowder technology. The new technology brought by the Portuguese not only fundamentally transformed Japanese warfare tactics, but also brought revolutionary changes to ninja activities. The Kōga technicians weren't satisfied with merely manufacturing gunpowder. They deeply studied the properties of gunpowder and successively developed various specialized equipment based on it. Signal fire powder Noroshi Karyaku, Noroshi Hoyao, was essentially modern flares used for long-distance signal transmission. By changing the color of smoke, they could convey complex information. Firecrackers, bakuchiku, Baoja, weren't simple noisemakers, but sophisticated psychological warfare weapons used for diversionary tactics and distracting enemies. And Horoku Dama Beiloyu were explosive weapons that can be considered prototypes of hand grenades. These ceramic spheres filled with gunpowder and ignited with fuses demonstrated tremendous effectiveness in castle sieges and night raids. However, the most innovative invention by Kōga technicians was the development of timing devices Jiku Suchi, Shujian Zhuangju. Using the burning time of incense sticks as a primitive clock function, they established technology to control explosions and ignitions at precise timings. This technology was extremely advanced, even by global standards. Similar devices weren't practical in Europe until the 17th century. Kōga craftsmen made various time settings possible, from minutes to hours, by combining incense sticks of different materials. This technology allowed ninjas to plant time bombs at target locations, withdraw, and confirm results from safe distances. Meanwhile, revolutionary innovations also occurred in information transmission technology. Iga's Express Courier System, Hayahikyaku Shistemu, Zauhikyo Shistemu, was a groundbreaking system that can be considered the prototype of modern delivery networks and information communication systems. By establishing relay points along major highways and efficiently using both horses and people, they could deliver information from Edo, modern Tokyo, to Osaka in an astounding 3 days for that era. Technology that reduced what would normally take 7 to 10 days on foot to just 3 days must have seemed magical to people of the time. The core of this system was perfect coordination at relay points. Each point constantly maintained horses and personnel on standby, immediately receiving information from arriving couriers and sending it on to the next point. This was an extremely efficient operational method that parallels modern logistics systems. Furthermore, they achieved remarkable development in the field of cryptography, Angu Gajutsu, Anhao Jishu. Documents that appeared on the surface to be ordinary merchant letters or farmer diaries actually contained extremely important military information: character placement, paper folding methods, ink density, use of margins, and even the positions of tiny holes punched in paper. Everything functioned as part of the cipher. Particularly ingenious was the invisible ink eburidashi technique. Using special chemical solutions that revealed characters when heated, they hid important information on seemingly blank paper. They had practical application of chemical methods still used in modern forensic investigation over 400 years ago. Through these technological innovations, the ninjas of Kōga and Iga evolved from mere scouts and spies into specialists in sophisticated information warfare. Their technical standards possessed advancement comparable to modern IT technology, security systems, and even special forces equipment.
Chapter 4. Hattori Hanzo and Tokugawa Ieyasu. The Great Operation before Sekigahara.
September 15, 1600, the Battle of Sekigahara. The outcome of this greatest decisive battle in Japanese history wasn't determined on the battlefield. It had already been decided by the largest-scale information warfare conducted underwater for months before the battle. And at the center of this information war was none other than Hattori Hanzo Masanari Fububanzang Jungchung of Iga. However, he wasn't the mysterious black-clad warrior depicted in later fiction, but rather what we would call today an excellent intelligence analyst and strategic consultant. Before the battle that would divide the nation, Tokugawa Ieyasu faced an extremely difficult and complex situation. In terms of surface military strength, the Western Army centered around Ishida. Mitsunari numbered about 80,000, while Ieyasu's Eastern Army had about 70,000, a numerical disadvantage. Even more serious was that among the daimyo considered allies, several had the potential to betray him. Military commanders like Kobayakawa Hideaki, Wakizaka Yasuharu, Kuchiki, Mototsuna, and Ogawa Tsukumasa nominally belonged to the Western Army, while hinting at defection to Ieyasu. But whether these were genuine betrayals or deception operations by Mitsunari's side was extremely difficult to judge. A single wrong judgment could determine the fate of the entire Tokugawa house. In this extreme situation, Ieyasu entrusted Hattori Hanzo with a mission consisting of 3 elements. First, accurately assess the true fighting spirit and loyalty of each Western Army daimyo. Second, collect detailed topographical information and weather conditions around Sekigahara to formulate optimal tactics. Third, determine the optimal timing to begin battle. All of these were extremely important factors that would influence the outcome of the war. Hanzo divided his 200 subordinate Iga ninja into 3 teams, disguising them as different social classes and occupations to begin information gathering. The first team, disguised as farmers, traveled through various daimyo territories collecting public opinion. They investigated in detail the level of public support for war, food stockpile situations, and civilian morale. The second team, disguised as merchants, investigated military supply distribution. From weapons, gunpowder, horse equipment, and food procurement situations, they estimated each daimyo's true level of war preparation. The third team, disguised as mountain priests Yamabushi, Shanfu used mountain routes to collect internal information from enemy camps. This was extremely organized and efficient intelligence operations rivaling modern corporate espionage and intelligence agencies. Kobayakawa Hideaki's movements became a particularly important subject of investigation. As an adopted son of Toyotomi Hideyoshi, he belonged to the Western Army but had been hinting at defection to Ieyasu since before Sekigahara. However, whether this truly meant switching to Ieyasu's side or was deception to fool Mitsunari, or even a Western Army strategy to deceive Ieyasu, remained unclear. This single judgment could determine the outcome of the battle. The information collected by Hanzo's subordinates over several months revealed astounding facts. First, it became clear that Mori Terremoto, the Western Army's supreme commander, was actually trying to avoid active combat. His interest lay in securing post-war political position, wanting to join the winning side while participating in battle as little as possible. Next, it was confirmed that Kobayakawa Hideaki would definitely betray. Though his timing would depend on reading the battle situation, he would act only after the Eastern Army gained advantage. Most importantly, they discovered that Ishida Mitsunari's supply lines had fatal weaknesses. While Mitsunari was based at Ogaki Castle, deploying at Sekigahara would overextend his supply lines, making him certain to be disadvantaged in prolonged warfare. Hanzo's comprehensive analysis of this information led to a clear conclusion. The Eastern Army should force a short, decisive battle and settle matters within 6 hours of combat beginning. This would expose the Western Army's internal unity weaknesses and supply problems, ensuring certain victory. On the day of Sekigahara, September 15, 1600, at 800 a.m., amid the deep fog typical of Mino's mountainous region, Ieyasu received Hanzo's final report. Enemy morale is lower than expected with serious supply problems. Kobayakawa's betrayal is certain. You must settle this by noon. Based on this calm and accurate intelligence analysis, at 8:30 a.m. Ieyasu ordered a general attack by all forces. The result is as history records. In just 6 hours, the Sengoku period's greatest decisive battle ended, confirming Tokugawa supremacy. Hattori Hanzo's outstanding intelligence analysis abilities and strategic thinking laid the foundation for the 260-year Tokugawa peace that followed.
Chapter 5, Changes in the Edo Period and Influence on Modern Times.
The victory at Sekigahara ushered Japan into an unprecedented period of transformation. Tokugawa Ieyasu's national unification would bring about 260 years of peace, one of the longest peaceful periods in world history. However, ironically, the arrival of this very peace would fundamentally change the role of Kōga and Iga ninjas. As the age of warfare ended, demand for specialist groups with advanced military technology rapidly declined. The Tokugawa shogunate officially employed Kōga and Iga ninjas as Oniwaban Yuting Fan, palace guards in recognition of their Sekigahara achievements. However, their new duties were no longer enemy territory reconnaissance or sabotage operations. Their main work became guarding Edo Castle, fire prevention and initial firefighting, and personal security for the shogun's family. Those who had been cutting-edge military technicians during the Sengoku period became security guards in the peaceful era. This was like nuclear physicists suddenly becoming elementary school science teachers after world peace was achieved. Their advanced skills and knowledge no longer had opportunities for practical application. However, this dramatic role change would create the ninja image we know today. Ninjutsu that had lost practical utility gradually found new life in the entertainment world. From the mid-Edo period onward, ninjas gained new life in kabuki, jururi, and popular literature like yomihan and kusazoshi. But in this process, the ninja image underwent major transformation. They evolved from the realistic and scientific ninjas of the Sengoku period into fantasy beings with superhuman abilities. The familiar ninja superpowers, leaping gracefully from roof to roof, instantly vanishing with smoke bombs, walking on water, using multiplication techniques, were all creations of this era. Edo commoners sought the excitement and thrills they couldn't experience in peaceful daily life through such ninja stories. However, the technological legacy accumulated by the people of Kōga and Iga has been reliably inherited to modern times, albeit in transformed ways. First, surveying technology. Many surveying technicians from Iga participated in Ino Tadataka's Japanese mapping project during the Edo period. Their technology was inherited by modern surveying projects after the Meiji Restoration. developing into the foundational technology of today's Geospatial Information Authority. Next, gunpowder technology was converted to Edo period fireworks manufacturing, creating Japan's unique fireworks culture. Many of the complex and beautiful fireworks still seen at fireworks. Festivals today are based on technology developed by descendants of Kōga gunpowder technicians. Additionally, information transmission system know-how became the foundation of Edo period. Courier systems and postal services becoming prototypes of modern logistics systems and delivery networks. Concepts like efficient package transfers at relay points and route optimization are still utilized as basic principles in today's logistics industry. Particularly noteworthy is their developed concept of information security. Cryptography, distributed information management, multi-layered verification systems, and deception operations. These methods share surprising similarities with basic principles of modern cybersecurity. Among modern information security specialists, there are cases where experts study Sengoku period ninja techniques to develop new security systems. In cryptography, the multi-layered encryption concept developed in Kōga and Iga became one of the foundational theories of modern computer encryption technology. The method of dividing information into multiple layers for encryption and gradually decrypting with different keys is now widely used in internet communications. In organizational management, their distributed organization concept has greatly influenced modern corporate management and project management. Organizational structures that function as a whole while utilizing each department's or individual's expertise without relying on centralized command systems are adopted as important management methods in modern IT companies and startups. The ninjas of Kōga and Iga were never superhuman warriors or mystical magicians. In the turbulent Sengoku period, they were engineers, IT consultants, and security specialists who operated using cutting-edge scientific technology and rational thinking. The technological legacy and thought processes they left behind continue to live on in various fields of modern society, albeit in transformed ways.
Ending.
Silence returns once again to the midnight forest. But this time, we can look at the forest not with the mysterious fear or anxiety felt at the beginning, but with deep respect and gratitude. The moonlight streams through the trees just as before, but the scene appears completely different. The true nature of ninjas wasn't superhuman warriors or mystical beings using magic. They were technicians at the cutting edge of their era, scientists, and above all, professional groups with realistic and rational thinking. The technological legacy and spiritual wealth they left behind teach us many important things today. Technology should be used not to harm people, but to protect them and build peace. Information has value only when accurately collected, calmly analyzed, and appropriately utilized. And organizations demonstrate true power not by depending on a single hero, but through cooperation among people with their respective specialties. The wisdom and technology of those who operated hidden in the darkness of the Sengoku period continue to live on as foundations of our society today, albeit in transformed ways. Many technologies we use daily contain the creativity and ingenuity of Kōga and Iga people from over 400 years ago. They were the true heroes in the shadows.